Hi everyone, it's Scott here. Will we fix this housing crisis? Will the housing crisis come to an end? When will it come to an end? And what's going to happen with the current property boom that we are in? Is this boom going to continue? So I'm going to unpack all of that in this video. Now, at the moment, we are in the middle of the worst housing crisis that this country has ever seen. In fact, it's so bad that the Australian government actually came out and said from 2024, for the next 5 years, they've set a target to build and construct 1.2 million residential homes so that people have places to live, that we can have enough supply there to be able to bring those prices down. Now, we also need to do that to accommodate the huge amount of population growth that we're expected to have. And this is because the government knows that to plug the skills gap that we've got here in Australia, and also to increase the tax base with a lot of young workers, because we do have an aging population. In fact, if you look at the government's intergenerational report, the last one that they did publish, you'll see that the government is forecasting and planning to bring in at least 200,000 permanent migrants to this country every single year for the next 10 years. Now, where does this leave us in terms of what's actually going on with the housing crisis? Well, Oxford Economics actually released a study which looks deeply into the number of houses which are going to be constructed. Now, in addition to that, we can look at the ABS stats, the ABS numbers, to look at things like housing approvals, housing starts, and housing completions. And I'll come back to that because that will give you a link and a source of information that you can go to in your own time. You can study that information in the past, and every single month when the new data comes out, you can also take a look at that, or you can like and subscribe, and I'll keep you updated on all things property and wealth creation. Okay, so the target to be able to stop the housing crisis, end the housing crisis, is to build 1.2 million homes in the next 5 years. Now, if you break that down, that is actually 240,000 new homes which need to be constructed every single year. What actually happens to build and construct a new property in this country, what you need to do is you need to go to your local council and you need to put in a development application to be able to build something new. Now, every development application either gets approved or not approved. Now, those approvals are counted and you can find those numbers at the ABS website. In fact, I'm going to link to that now. I'm going to put up a chart to show you that now. Now, you will see that the latest data that we've got is June of 2024. There's about 13,500 new homes approved to be constructed. However, what's important is this. These are only the council saying that you can go ahead and construct that home. It doesn't mean that housing will start, and even if it started, it doesn't even mean that that home will be completed. So we've got to look at approvals and how many of those approvals actually become a finished home that someone can move into and live in. Now, we know from looking at the back data that only 70 to about 85% of approvals, depending on the location, wherever you are in Australia, will become a completed home. So let's take a look at the June data. Now, in the June data, there's 13,500 approvals. Now, if we were to say that, hey, only 11 or 12,000 of those, or even less than that, might become a completed home, let's just, for math's sake, make it 10,000 a month completed off those 13,500 approvals. Well, if you times 10,000 by 12, that's only 120,000 homes. Now, we know that to end the housing crisis, we need to build and construct 240,000 homes every single year for the next 5 years to be able to end the housing crisis. In fact, that's the target set by the government. So in order to hit 240,000 completed homes, we're going to have to get approvals of somewhere around 300,000 approvals, and we're nowhere near that. So if we only complete and build and construct 120,000 homes a year, if we only do that for the next 5 years, we're only going to get 500, 600, maybe 700,000 homes. And we're going to be well short of the 1.2 million that we need. Now, Oxford Economics actually did an in-depth study. I think that they're being very positive because they believe that after 5 years, we'll only be around about 260,000 homes short. However, I believe through the help of our research team, Liana Pan, my co-founder, also our head of research here, Jazz, when we look at these numbers, we believe that we're going to be somewhere between 380 to 450,000 homes short. We believe that we know better than Oxford Economics because they're looking at the top line data, which they're very good at, but they're not talking to people on the ground, builders, developers, landowners, and what they are planning to do and how they are reading the landscape. Now, if they're reading the landscape negatively in terms of wanting to bring new product to the market, you know what? It's going to take 1, 2, maybe even 3 years of some positive news and some changes in the industry for them to get on the front foot and to be quite proactive about building and constructing new property, which can be a very risky thing if you're a developer or if you're a builder. You've got to make sure that the consumers are there to buy the product at the end of that construction process. And right now, that's not that clear because the interest rates are high. There's a cost of living crisis. There's a lot going on economically all over the world. A lot of people are saying that construction costs may grow 20, 30, maybe even 40% over the next 5 years. And if construction costs continue to grow, even if we have interest rates coming down, it's going to be very, very difficult to attract enough buyers into the market to put deposits down on brand new property, which then allows the builders and the developers to go ahead and build those properties. So if you look at it, government red tape, you've got NIMBYism, where you've got people in local council areas that don't want development to take place in their local area where all of the infrastructure is, which means that one of the only areas or zones that you can build and construct new property without actually having those constraints is in greenfields areas. You've got to go out, you've got to acquire farmland, you've got to develop that farmland. You need sewers to go in, you need electricity to go in, you need roads to go in, schools to be built. That costs billions and billions and billions of dollars, and state governments are broke. They don't have that money. And that's why state governments are saying, hey, we want to increase high density housing where all the infrastructure already is. But there's pushback on that. So you've got local councils fighting state government fighting federal government trying to mandate or put bonuses or incentives down to be able to open up new developments. It really is a mess from the regulatory side and from the approval side. It really is a mess in terms of the labor and having enough construction workers to do all of the work. It really is a mess in terms of having the end consumer, the end buyer, to actually come out in enough numbers to put deposits down on property to start that building construction process. So if all of those things are not going to align, how are we going to get 300,000 approvals? How are we going to get 240,000 homes built every single year and completed, ready for people to move into? It's not going to happen. Oxford Economics forecast that we're about 160, 170,000 homes already behind where we need to be. So we're already behind 1 year's worth of construction. We need to be completing 240,000 homes. We've only got enough approvals coming through right now where we can see possibly 120, 130,000 completions to happen. Now, Oxford Economics do say, hey, towards the end of this 5-year period, okay, so coming along at, 27, 28, 29, it will start to ramp up because interest rates will come down, more buyers will come into the market, they'll put deposits down on brand new property, construction costs will level out, labor costs will level out, the councils will get into gear and, work and collaborate with state government to open up and approve more development applications. But really, will that really happen in just the next 2 to 3 years to allow us in 27, 28, 29 to be building like record numbers of homes in this country, more than 240, 260,000 completions every year? What we say here at Freedom is, hey, we believe that, in fact, that housing crisis is going to get progressively worse. So here's the link to my article at Australian Property Update, where I do cover and analyze what Oxford Economics has said. I'll also put a link direct down to the Oxford Economics study so you can go and take a look at that. But in a nutshell, guys, the housing crisis is here to stay. Certainly in the next 1, 2, 3 years, there's no reprieve in sight. So guys, I'm going to do a $300 giveaway because I do want to hear your comments. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that we're going to beat 240,000 completions year on year for the next 5 years? Do you think that the housing crisis is going to come to an end? Do you think that possibly maybe in the next 1, 2, or 3 years, the government will come out with some new policy that will suddenly turn things around? Can we shift this? Can we make a difference in the next 5 years? Or are we stuck with this housing crisis for at least 5 years, and we're going to see continued house price growth, rental growth? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So leave your comment and you'll go into the draw to win that $300 gift voucher. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe for more information like this. Take care.